Hello, and welcome to the Sheriff's Office 7th Annual Purple Light Nights Lighting Ceremony. I am Colonel Darren Palmer. I serve as the Chief Assistant Sheriff in the Office of the Sheriff in Prince George's County, Maryland. We're here at Prince George's Community College, our partner from this program's inception, and as of last year, the new home of the ceremony. Purple Light Nights is a lighting ceremony the Domestic Violence Intervention Division's Special Victims Assistance conceived in 2014. This event kicks off Domestic Violence Awareness Month that begins today, October 1st, and launches a new level of awareness and education on the crime of domestic violence as a community issue. Since then, their goal of strengthening partnerships, sharing information, and highlighting the range of resources in our county has been realized. And while we remain relentless in the fight against domestic violence, this ceremony has become a celebration of what we can accomplish working together. Prince George's Community College was a partner from the start, lighting a building purple each year and giving students purple light bulbs to shine a light in their windows against sexual and domestic violence. When we were looking for a new home for the ceremony last year, Prince George's Community College was the right choice for the right ceremony and to broaden the scope of outreach. The ceremony was beautiful. Our partnership with the college and with President Williams has made this program possible. So while the times demand change, you may rest assured that our message hasn't changed. Domestic violence has no place in our community. It is my great honor to introduce you to Sheriff Melvin C. High.
Prince George's County is a beautiful place to live. Given the great opportunity the county presents to its citizens and residents, domestic violence reduces the opportunity to take full advantage of what it has to offer. That's why our message from the beginning of this campaign has been, and still is, domestic violence has no place in our community. We're here at beautiful Prince George's Community College, a magnificent campus and focal point for this community, to continue to celebrate our growing partnership that brought the Purple Light Nights lighting ceremony to campus. Our message endures. Our goal is to be the undoing of domestic violence in our county. A quest symbolized by a simple light bulb we ask citizens to shine on their porch or in a window to signal our unified effort against domestic violence. Our goal is to get to zero incidents of sexual and domestic violence by responding to residents in need of assistance. But also, we can stop domestic violence through prevention, where we focus on young people, like here at the college, encouraging skills that alert them to danger and language that articulates their expectations in all relationships. We couldn't be more pleased to be here with the new and 9th president of Prince George's Community College. It's my great honor to introduce Dr. Falecia D. Williams.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Sheriff High. I am Falecia Williams, president of Prince George's Community College. I am honored to take part in today's ceremony as we usher in Domestic Violence Awareness Month. As many of you know, I joined this wonderful community after serving for nearly 22 years at Falecia College in Florida. I felt called to come to Prince George's County and this college because I want to be part of the movement that is happening here. A movement for change, equity, and justice. One that empowers all people to find their voice and join the chorus of fighters, believers, and light seekers who stand up for what's right. As the new president of Prince George's Community College, let me assure you that I am absolutely committed to continuing the college's fruitful partnership with the Sheriff's Office around the important issue of domestic violence. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men experience violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime. From 2016 to 2018, the number of intimate partner violence victimizations in the United States increased by 42%. Historically, Prince George's County has been some of the highest rates of domestic violence in the state. Nationally, we've also ranked too high. Over the past year, reports of domestic violence in the county remain steady overall, with slight declines in some areas. These data are promising. We are trending in the right direction. They also reinforce the need for us to continue the important work in this community around ensuring that we eradicate domestic violence. Domestic violence does not discriminate. Age doesn't matter. Race doesn't matter. Gender doesn't matter. Your marital status doesn't matter. When you hear the stories of survivors, including those of many of us watching today, you cannot help but be inspired and moved by the courage and strength of the survivors. When we honor the memories of victims, we are reminded that every crime is one too many. Every life taken or impacted is one too many. Today, we want our students, faculty, staff, and community partners to know domestic violence has no place here at Prince George's Community College or in Prince George's County. We are a safe space, and we will continue to do everything in our power to break the cycle. As we participate in today's symbolic lighting ceremony, let us remember, raising awareness is only the start. Even after this event ends and Domestic Violence Awareness Month comes to a close, never let your purple light burn out. Keep your lamp burning, as they say, because more people than you know are counting on that light to lead them to shore. Thank you.
During this election season and on topic, we wanted to focus on the law and legal support for victims in Maryland. We are especially pleased to introduce our keynote speaker, Luann Edwards, managing attorney for the House of Ruth, Maryland's legal clinic in Baltimore, where she's practiced for 12 years. She's represented hundreds of victims of intimate partner violence, specific to our focus. Ms. Edwards has worked with other stakeholders to address systemic and institutional barriers to relief for victims. Ms. Luann Edwards.
Greetings. I'm honored to have this opportunity to talk with the people who are doing the work of promoting safety for people who experience intimate partner violence. As service providers, we are each making a difference in the lives of countless individuals with whom we work on a one-to-one, face-to-face, case-by-case basis. What I want to discuss today is how our work with individuals also makes a difference in the big picture, the across-the-board protections that are afforded to all people experiencing intimate partner violence. Maryland passed its first protective order statute in 1980. That act protected only spouses and relatives, and only if the victim lived with the abuser. And in 1980, a protective order could only last up to 15 days. 40 years later, our laws protect people in much broader and diverse groups of relationships, including people who have never lived with their abusers. Our laws recognize and protect people from a much more broadly defined concept of what abuse is, including a recently added concept apt for our times, protection from revenge porn. And our criminal laws have been enhanced in ways that afford greater protection to victims of domestic violence crimes. This evolution of legal protection mostly springs from those who work with individual victims and their insistence that our laws do more to protect people. Let me tell you about two significant changes to our laws effective October 1st this year. One, who is eligible for a protective order. Our protective order statute has evolved to extend protection to people in current or past intimate relationships, regardless of whether they have ever been married or lived together. This year, the statute was expanded to grant protection to victims whom the respondent raped or sexually assaulted or attempted to rape or sexually assault. We know that there is an increasing number of reports of sex crimes involving people who meet on dating apps, and now those victims are eligible for protective orders against those perpetrators. Likewise, people who are sexually victimized by a coworker or another tenant in their apartment building are now eligible for protective orders against those perpetrators. That is a significant expansion of who is covered by orders of protection. Also this year, the definition of felony first-degree assault was expanded to include intentionally suffocating or strangling another person. What we know as service providers working with multiple individual cases of intimate partner violence is that intimate partner non-lethal strangulation is very common, extremely grave, and often disregarded or dismissed. When law enforcement responds to a call for a domestic, they're very likely to hear that one party had a hand or hands or forearm or hoodie drawstring around the neck of the victim. When advocates interview survivors about the history of violence in their relationships, they're very likely to hear that there has been at least one strangulation in the past. When protective orders are sought or criminal cases are prosecuted, we often see that while a remedy is ultimately granted or the defendant is in fact criminally punished, the specific act of strangulation is not appropriately addressed. We know non-lethal strangulation is a red flag indicator for future lethality. Victims who experience non-lethal strangulation are 7 times more likely to be murdered by their abusers, usually by some means other than strangulation. Abusers don't use strangulation to kill their victims. They use strangulation to let their victims know that they can kill them if they choose to. Strangulation can cause unconsciousness within several minutes and death within just a couple more minutes. So abusers who use non-lethal strangulation to communicate the message that they can kill if they want to may only strangle their victims for a few seconds, and this brevity may be part of the reason that strangulation is sometimes disregarded or dismissed. The concern, however, should not be how long the strangulation lasts, but rather the message that the abuser is sending loudly and clearly that he is capable of killing his intimate partner. With this year's change to the law, making an intentional suffocation or strangulation a felony first-degree assault, we now have an appropriate response to that loud and clear message. 40 years after Maryland first enacted its protective order statute, we have robust, comprehensive legislation that greatly enhances and promotes safety for people experiencing intimate partner violence. We're not finished, but we've accomplished a lot, and that accomplishment is the product of all our work. Thank you for all that you do.
Each year since 2018, we have given out a very special award called the Purple Light Bulb Award. As inscribed on the award, it is given in recognition of partnership, support, and fearless leadership, shining a light in darkness where domestic violence thrives. Each recipient has taken action that, in addition to thrusting domestic violence into the light, gives voice to the issue itself, breaking also the silence within which domestic violence thrives. They give voice to the impact of violence on families. They reach out, they listen, and they sow change. They also fortify our resolve that we are on the right track in strengthening our county. It is my great pleasure to introduce our 3 2020 Purple Light Bulb awardees. Accepting for our first awardee, Swing Fi Swing Social Fellowship Incorporated, is its National Vice President and our good friend Justine Love of WPGC radio fame. Justine promoted our awareness campaign on the radio, and her kindred spirits in Swing Fi Swing stepped up right away, fulfilling their mission of empowering women and delivering community service. We have been strengthened by their partnership, and trust me when I say the women of this organization bring the power. Sheriff High will now present the award to Ms. Love.
Thank you. On behalf of DC Metro Graduate Chapter and the National Office of Swing Fi Swing Social Fellowship Incorporated, we are proud advocates for the stories of survivors and for educating the community about domestic violence. We are with you, Sheriff, and because this is in keeping with our national agenda to empower women and families. It is also personal for our chapter in that we honor our sister, Patricia Saunders, who turned her journey into victory. After being a victim In early adulthood, she made history through her work supporting the Americans with Disability Act for over 4 decades. Her story shows that there are many that are afraid to speak up, walk away, and seek help. We are the beacons of purple light always. Thank you again.
The support our awareness agenda has received from Park Police Chief Stanley Johnson and his members reminds us that true partnership is responding to a call for action. That is what he and his agency's members did to support this effort without hesitation. After we announced the Purple Light Nights awareness campaign, his team launched a 5K race that has grown, and 2 years ago, they added a silent auction and banquet, both of which benefit the hospital's Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center. Here's Sheriff High and Chief Stanley Johnson.
Thank you, Sheriff High, for this recognition. Domestic violence will have no place in our community if we continue to raise awareness, educate the public, and partner to be a unified voice. We must remember and support victims. Those of us who are leaders of an organization must empower and support our staff to do the work to give support and hope to those living with domestic abuse. I humbly accept this award on behalf of the men and women of the Maryland National Capital Park Police, Prince George's County Division.
Our final awardee, Dr. Delane Smith Clark, has been an incredible partner to our Special Victims Assistants when they need to identify resources for a victim. Everything from rental assistance to emergency hotel stays to facilitating our Stay in Touch program. She proves that the success of an organization like the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center at the University of Maryland's Capital Region Health is so often about the experience and devotion of the people inside. Here's Sheriff High and Dr. Smith Clark.
Thank you. Hello, I want to thank the Prince George's County Sheriff Department for this tremendous honor of being named the recipient of the Purple Light Bulb Award. My life's purpose is to empower those who have been victimized by violence, those who are outcasts, and those who feel they have no hope. Psychologist Zane Lopez says, "Hope matters, hope is a choice, hope can be learned, hope can be shared with others. I believe one's future can be better with hope." Thank you for this tremendous honor.
Thank you, Dr. Smith Clark, for all that you do in our community. And now, for closing remarks, please welcome back Sheriff Melvin High.
And thank you for joining our program. 2020 has been an unusual and difficult year. We've had a number of crises affecting every community, not the least of which has been COVID-19. But God has blessed us uniquely to think and find solutions. As you've heard, we persist in our effort to build partnerships, like the one we're delighted to continue with Prince George's Community College under the leadership of Dr. Falecia Williams. I hope your takeaway from our keynote speaker, Ms. Edwards, is that changes in legislation illustrate our continuous learning, which fuels our ability to improve the tools that strengthen protections against domestic violence and family violence. The Extreme Risk Protection Order, for instance, which enables law enforcement to remove guns, literally can save lives where a volatile situation exists, because we know that guns are too often a factor in domestic violence threats and homicides. In addition, over the years, together we've made such progress on educational awareness so that people are better informed about what domestic violence is, where they can get help for themselves or for a friend or family, and greater knowledge about the range of resources available in our community. Many of our police agencies continue to undertake initiatives to grow resources and protections, such as our Purple Light Bulb awardee, Chief Johnson, and the Park Police did when they started their annual 5K race to benefit a partner service provider. And because domestic violence takes no breaks, Neither have we during this crisis, with the courts continuing to issue protective orders and our deputies in the sheriff's office continuing to serve them. Like many communities around the country, Prince George's County has seen some increase in protective orders, due we believe to the virtual court process and the stay-at-home seclusion necessitated by COVID-19 that creates tension. We believe with some confidence, however, that our system for intervention has kept our citizens well informed throughout the year and during COVID-19, so that people know far more about what actions they can take to protect themselves and their families. I assure you that our prevention, intervention, and enforcement efforts continue, even as we've had to isolate as a community. Finally, I want to thank the residents of the county for helping us spread the message that domestic violence has no place in our community. Over the years, we've given away thousands of purple light bulbs and asked that you shine a light on your porch or in a window every night in October. Thousands of you have, in partnership with our message and signaling that yours is a violence-free home. I urge you to go to the Sheriff's and Prince George's Community College social media to find out where to get your purple light bulb and multiply our effort for greater safety. Thanks again to Dr. Williams, Prince George's Community College, and our partners in this work to end domestic violence, and to all of you. I've asked the commander of our Domestic Violence Intervention Division, Captain Sean Richards, and Ms. Bethany Bardot, supervisor of our Special Victim Assistance, to close the program with our traditional lighting ceremony countdown.
Thank you for joining us. I assure you our work serving victims continues now as ever. Ms. Bordeaux?
Please don't hesitate to ask for help. Call our office or any of our partners you've seen on the screen today.